Remember Oscar Pistorius, the South African runner dubbed the Blade Runner, who qualified for the 2012 Olympics using a pair of prosthetic legs and would later be convicted for the 2013 murder of his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp? Well, he's now up for parole, and as a part of the parole process in that country, Steenkamp's parents have the option of a face-to-face meeting with Pistorius first, which in South Africa is known as restorative justice. Pistorius has shot Reeva on Valentine's Day 2013 through a locked bathroom door. He claimed it was an accident. He fired his gun believing an intruder had broken into his home, but the event suggested they had been fighting. The trial would captivate South Africa and the world. I covered this trial extensively. At times, in the courtroom, Pistorius was unable to control his emotions.
Why are you getting emotional now?
I did not fire at Reeva.
In court, Reeva's father said Pistorius needed to pay for what he'd done.
Oscar has to pay for what he did. He has to pay for it.
Now, he was convicted initially of culpable homicide, known in the United States generally as sort of like manslaughter. But a higher court overturned the conviction, changed it to murder a year later. That couldn't happen here. The 34-year-old has served half of his 15-year sentence, making him eligible for parole. Now, Reeva's parents have the chance to question Pistorius. Steenkamps have previously said they want to challenge Pistorius on why he did it. Joining me now is Tim Rohan. His podcast of Oscar Pistorius' False Idol can be heard on Religion of Sport, where he is also a senior writer. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. So
Thanks for having me.
Talk to us about this restorative justice piece. Is this actually going to happen, that he's going to have to meet with her parents in order to get parole?
Yeah, no, it's part of the South Africa parole process. They have what's called victim-offender dialogue, where the victim, or in this case, the victim's family, has the option to meet with the offender, have a face-to-face meeting. And I guess the idea is that the offender has a chance to take responsibility for what they did, acknowledge their actions, perhaps apologize, and maybe reconcile with the victim's family. And, you know, the idea of restorative justice in general is the victim and the offender coming together and talking about the crime or what happened. And there's some history of this in South Africa, going back to apartheid. After the end of apartheid, they had the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where victims and perpetrators of violence during apartheid gave testimony about the horrors of apartheid. And so that's, yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Is he going to actually fess up? I mean, he has consistently and again maintained that this was just a horrible accident. He thought someone was robbing his home, etc. It would seem to me that the Steenkamps are only going to be satisfied if he finally admits that they were in a fight, right?
I don't know if he's going to fess up. You know, this week I spoke to both Pistorius' lawyer and the Steenkamps' lawyer, and I know that the Steenkamps want to have this meeting and that Pistorius also wants to have the meeting. His lawyer told me that he wants to apologize to the Steenkamps and that he's wanted to meet with them ever since he went into prison. I don't know what would satisfy them. I know, you know, June Steenkamp has said in the past, according to her lawyer, that she has forgiven Pistorius, whereas Barry Steenkamp battles with that a little bit more. I know he wants to meet with him. I'm sure he has questions for him. You know, when the time comes, when Pistorius does have his parole hearing, the Steenkamps are going to have a chance to state their case, whether in person or make a statement in writing about how they feel about Oscar being up for parole and whether he should be released. And I asked their lawyer, were they leaning a certain way? And what I was told was maybe it's too early to tell right now, but she said that the Steenkamps are loving and compassionate people, and that first they want to have that face-to-face meeting. And I'm sure they have questions that they want to ask Oscar.
Wow. And now I have to admit that I did cover this case as it was happening. I have not followed it much since then. How has his prison time been? Do we know anything about Oscar Pistorius' time behind bars?
Yeah, there's been reports here and there. He's currently at Atteridgeville Correctional Center. His father gave interviews a while ago saying that Pistorius was leading a Bible study and was spending his time gardening. And so, that there's been little information here and there. But yeah, I mean, but this news, Dan, that he's up for parole comes as a little bit of a shock. There was a lot of people that were of the opinion, not the opinion, but of the belief that he wouldn't be eligible for parole until March 2023. And then this week it came out that not only is that wrong, but he's actually eligible right now, and he has been eligible since July of this year. And so this completely caught Steenkamp family by surprise. And there was actually, his parole hearing was actually scheduled for the end of October, and they canceled it because this face-to-face meeting hadn't happened yet. So this is all happening kind of fast and really caught the Steenkamps by surprise.
And it does sound like they're going to have a lot of power here, right? I mean, they're going to be able to either recommend, and I'm not saying they have to accept it, but they're either going to be able to recommend that, yeah, we're on board with him being released, or we're not.
Yeah, no, it's going to factor in. Yeah, they're going to get a chance to state their case, and it's going to factor into the parole board's decision. Is it going to be? It's not the be all end all, but I was told
right.
it is a factor. You know what they say there.
Tim, one of the things that you've said on your podcast is that Reeva has largely been forgotten. I got 20 seconds left. Just remind us a little bit about Reeva.
Well, she was just a kind, empathetic, smart person. Everyone knows that she was a successful model. She was also a law student and had plans on returning to law. And when she became a model and had some success, she was starting to use her platform to speak out about issues she cared about, like gender-based violence. And she was going to spend her life doing that. And that's part of the tragedy here, that, you know, she lost her life so young.
She had everything going for her. This was truly a tragedy. And I have to tell you that after having covered just about every minute of this case, it was clear to me that the prosecution had the much stronger argument than did the defense about what had happened here. Tim Rohan, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.